What's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Two of Our Own, joined by Harry, as per usual. Harry, how you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. You?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. This week, guys, we are previewing the North London derby. Yes, I realise you guys are seeing this a week early. Well done. If you've been living under a rock, I'm going on holiday next week. I'm in Italy for the North London derby. Yes, I know.
You're scouting Chiesa and Nashville. No.
Oh wow, I'm hopefully going to Bologna versus Udinese. So unless they've changed teams anytime soon,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I'm away, so that's why we're doing this now. So yeah, we're going to start by talking about Arsenal season. We did try to get an Arsenal fan on, and then we realised the only reasonable Arsenal fan on the entire planet is Ian Wright, and unfortunately he aired me. So I'm joking, didn't even see it. So we're just going to stick to talking about Arsenal without an Arsenal fan here to ruin it. Talking about their season then, obviously ignoring how much money they've spent, because money is money at the end of the day. It's not coming out of my pocket. Do you think they've improved since last season?
Yeah, they have. I hate to say it, but Rice has been a massive improvement.
He's been a massive. And we're going to get on to talking about what Spurs need, really, and the difference between Arsenal and Spurs. But I think that the ability to have somebody of his quality, and I understand they spent a lot of money, but I'd argue there's only maybe a handful of players above him in that position in the world right now.
Apart from maybe Rodri, which is a debate in itself.
I'd say maybe Rodri, maybe Tuchemeni on his day. Other than that, I'd probably Kimmich if he plays in the centre. Other than that, I don't
Rice,
think.
I mean, people would disagree with me, but I think Rice is like the top. I prefer him to
He's
Rodri
definitely, for me, definitely within the top five in that position. And even though they spent a lot of money on him,
it's worth it.
I do feel that it's worth it, and I think in the long run they're going to benefit so much from it, and we're already seeing that this season.
Not just that, I think. See, this is where. Okay, I hope people don't think it's wrong. This is where I'm going to give credit to Arteta. So, if you spoke to me about last season about Arteta, or the season before that, I would have been like, Arteta's a clueless, like not clueless manager, but I don't rate him. He's not that great. But after what they did, going away to City and playing the way they did, I was like, this guy's willing to adapt. Okay, so of course, we saw that in his early Arsenal career when he went to a three at the back, right? When he didn't have the players. But I've seen him kind of mature as a manager a bit this season. I think he's kind of learning. I know he's still learning on the job, arguably, but he's just learning how to deal with certain situations, certain games.
I think he's calmed down as well. I think he's a lot more relaxed and a lot more level-headed than he was at certain points last season.
I can't not talk about Havertz. But what I'm saying is, he has. To be fair to Havertz, though, he has got like 10 goals this season, I think already.
Yeah, he's definitely improved. I still don't know what his best position is, but I think he's definitely improved.
Arteta's kind of got it right and wrong with him. Like the other day when they obviously lost to Villa, he got it wrong because he just chucked him back into midfield. But I think the way he was using him before was kind of right, because I call him like a better version of Fellaini, Havertz, because the way they use him. You know how Jose used to use Fellaini, yeah?
Yeah.
I do think they've improved, and also Timber, we don't know enough about him because he's not played enough, but I can still consider a good signing because I would have taken him to Spurs in a heartbeat. And I think, let's be honest, they have a much better squad than us. Even backups or competition, everyone would like call it.
I think they've been able to rotate a lot more this year as well than what they were last year.
They've got he's made a massive impact. I know he's not played as much as the others, but Martinelli's having an off season. So, but again, like when I look at him, he moved headers to the wing, which I didn't expect him to ever do.
Yeah,
I don't know what game it was, but he did it, and I was like, well, okay, this guy, maybe he's clocking onto things, but you have to give them credit. I mean, I don't think they're going to win the title, and hopefully with the team to stop it, but fingers crossed. But they're definitely in the race for it still, and I even argue, because we're recording this on Tuesday night, they still have a chance against Bayern, because it's not the Bayern Munich of old, is it really? So
yeah, you guys will know where they crashed and burnt against Bayern when this is finished.
Yeah, yeah. So like he's done a great. I have to give him credit. I hold my hands up and I apologise from my Arsenal fan friends. I was like, this guy's actually quite decent. He's not like a bad manager.
I definitely don't think he's an elite level manager. I don't know if he has the potential to be, but
it's a bit early though.
I think he's definitely imprinting his identity and his style on Arsenal.
But it's just his willingness to adapt. I think that's what's impressed me the most.
I think so. I think there are games this season that they've won that they would have lost
Yeah,
previously.
exactly. That extra 10%. I mean, like we spoke about Rice. Obviously, that's in terms of signings, but just in general, I feel like they have matured as a team. But
Yeah.
they're only literally 2 or 3 players away from like doing it.
Yeah, I think for me, you need an elite level left winger and an elite level striker, and I think they win the league. I think,
I think. See, I'd argue they need a centre half because they don't. I don't think they have enough there to cover. They need another central midfielder because Partey is going to go. 100%
yeah.
they're sending Partey, so they need to go sign someone and a striker. 100%. I think in wide areas they're all right.
But I
I don't
mean,
think
like
they need
in terms of
anyone.
like their best 11 right now, if you put their best
Yeah,
11 on paper, for me, they need a top tier striker.
hundred
And for me,
percent, hundred
I still
percent.
think they need a top tier winger. I still don't rate
Oh.
Martinelli to the level of like,
I think he's just having an off season personally, but anyway.
but even still, I still don't think he is that high level. I think for me, if I was Arsenal, I'd be looking at Jack Grealish in the summer if he's not going to stay at City, and I'd be looking at Ivan Toney. And I think if you were to add those two names,
Mm,
and I'm talking like realistic here. Obviously, there might be some foreign talents they're looking at, or
Isak.
yeah, yeah, obviously, but trying to keep it realistic in terms of how much they can spend,
Mm,
who might join them, who might be for
mm,
sale. I think if they were to bring those two players in,
mm.
and like you say, maybe a squad rotational midfielder. I heard there's some great Swedish guy who plays for Leverkusen with Premier League experience that they should sign. I think that would be enough for Arsenal to win the title.
And I think another
To,
centre
to,
half. I know Timber's going to come back, but I think they need someone else in there. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Personally.
They promoted that young Polish kid, and like I said, I
I
don't
don't
know
know
how
much
much.
enough about him. Maybe I'll be
What I've
wrong.
seen him, he's not looked great. He didn't look particularly well against Bayern.
I
But
mean,
like
to be
I
fair
say,
to Kyrgios, you smell Kyrgios. You know
yeah, I
he's
think
actually
that's
a centre
safe.
half playing at left back.
Oh, well, I did not know that. Though, so.
So that's that. No,
Um,
no, because yeah, I know too much because, like I said, I'm a customer support Arsenal as well. So I get hear about this in the group chats every week. Oh, why is he playing him? Like they hate Zinchenko.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans not happy with Zinchenko. I think that's an odd signing.
If
I
it was
do
me,
think,
I would move Zinchenko into midfield personally, but that's just
yeah,
me.
I'd agree with you. I do think Arsenal are better this season. I do think they've got their money's worth out of their last transfer window,
Their window was good.
and
Let's be honest.
I do think they are one more top tier window away from
Like doing it.
being able to go on the same kind of run that City goes on.
Mm.
Whether or not then it comes down to tactically Arteta versus Pep, and I think
Because to me,
obviously
when I look at them
Pep's got
now,
that
it's
extra
like
edge.
when I look at them, it's like just slightly a level above, just above we were under Poch in that season that we finished second.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think their starting 11 man for man is better, but I think they're getting
yeah.
more out of the players that they've got. Moving on to us then, obviously,
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game because I was at work, and thank fuck I didn't.
Yeah, you did miss
We were
much.
absolutely humiliated
Yeah.
against Newcastle. Caught with several balls over the top. Isak had the game of his life. After we gave him props for being our ideal number 9 for next season, so that was fun. Whether that's to prove a point to us or whether that's just out of spite, who knows? Maybe
I don't think
maybe he doesn't watch the channel
content.
either.
Yeah.
I think with Newcastle it's a weird one because we struggle in the ground. I think you could have played under 16s Newcastle against Spurs, and we still struggle in that stadium. They're at Anfield.
But do you think Mark could be then if we're saying this because obviously what happened last season? Surely Ange would have seen what happened last season there, right?
But what you got to remember, so it's all well and good looking at that with what was it? Was it Stellini at the time that we had?
Yeah.
It's all well and good looking at that, but there's a different set of players in. There's a different set of players gone. We're playing a completely different style, completely different identity. Like for me, you can't. If this was a year later and we went to Newcastle, we lost 4-0 again or 5-1 again or whatever, and we were sitting there going, "Did Ange not learn from last season?" I completely agree with you. But I think it's impossible to sit there and get a manager to look at another manager's squad, another manager's identity, another manager's, not even really a manager, really, another number 2 that's had to step up.
He was sacked after that game, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for me personally,
it's not you looking at it in that sense, David. It's more just like looking at the score and thinking, look, we have to give them like a proper match.
But I think Ange would have looked at it and gone, let me see what I can do with my style on them first. And then just like I fully expect us to lose 5 or 6-0 at Anfield. And the reason why I'm saying
destroyed at Anfield,
and the reason why I'm saying that, we lose at Anfield anyway. But the reason why I'm saying that is with the fullbacks high, the lack of a bully in midfield, if you like, I think we'll get caught with Liverpool's pace on the counter, and it'll be one of those games where everything Nunes touches goes into goal. Jota's back as well. Salah, who's not played particularly well at the moment. So I think for me, we'll get battered against Liverpool. And then the following year, the result will be completely different and the performance will be completely different. I think this is one of those games, when you have a rebuild under a new manager, you're playing a new style of play, you haven't quite got all the players you want yet. And there are some games that you're cutting off the arm to rebuild the body back stronger, if you like. It's like Medusa, whatever, not Medusa. Like
the Hydra.
The Hydra, that's it. You cut one head off and more will grow back. This is us saying we're going to cut our head off for the bigger picture to be stronger in the long run. I think he knows that the results at this ground haven't been great, just like he'll know that the results at Anfield haven't been great, just like he'll know the results at the Emirates haven't been great recently, although we managed to get a draw. But I think he will look at those and go, if we're going to play badly and we're going to get battered, let's get it over and done with this season, because these are the moments where I can see what specifically is causing these problems at these grounds.
But then...
And it's not, hold on 2 seconds. I don't think it's just it's not as black and white as the tactics or the personnel. I think there's a mentality issue when we go to certain grounds. If you remember, we used to have that problem when we went to Old Trafford. And we beat them 2-1. Like maybe 2011, 2012, something along those lines.
Was that under ABB?
Yeah, and it was the first time we'd won at Old Trafford in ages.
Yeah.
And I remember telling
my I
remember going nuts about it.
Yeah.
And now we've won at Old Trafford since, and I feel like we're playing a lot more consistently there than what we used to. Anfield and St James's Park are two of those grounds, unfortunately, that he is going to have to work on breaking bit by bit. And the reason why, don't get me wrong, top four is important. Don't get me wrong, Champions League is important. Don't get me wrong, progression is important. But I think if he's going to really find out what certain key elements of this squad are made of, these are the kind of games he's going to do it. And he can look at Basuma in that game and go, yes, you were better, but not quite for those away days. Even if he brings somebody in who is more like Højbjerg, but not quite as far away from progression as Højbjerg is, he will use that kind of player in those games. Anfield away.
I mean, we were linked with Onana, if you don't know.
Liverpool away. Say again?
I don't know if you mentioned Onana.
But then, we did mention it. But this is where I go back on my point we made about Onana a few weeks ago. That's where I don't think so. I think someone like that is too close to Basuma. I think unless we're going to go and sign a Rodri, Rice, Kimmich level player, which we're not going to do, let's be realistic, unless we're going to go and sign that caliber player or we're going to find a hidden gem, then I think we need someone who is slightly more to Højbjerg's level, but still with a bit more progression
Højbjerg wants to go, so he won't be here next season, I don't think.
No, he won't, no. The reason why I'm saying that is because for certain grounds where we go away to the Emirates, go away to City, we need more cover, we need more support. The reason why he's not playing Højbjerg in these games to start, because he knows Højbjerg's not going to be here next year. So what's the point in working out how your system can play with a certain player in a certain role if they're not going to be here? And even though we both disagree with certain lineup changes recently, the reason why certain individuals are not getting a look in, and I think, unfortunately, Lo Celso is one of them, as much as I think he's earned it when he's played, is because Ange's playing the core group of players he feels are still going to be here next season to work out where the gaps are, where the holes are, and what he needs. And I guarantee you, in the next 6 weeks, he will be in that Levy's office with an exact list going, this is exactly what I need. And the best way for him to do that is to find out in these tough... It's like the best thing I can compare it to. So I did an Arsenal Spurs 10-year save with a Liverpool friend of mine on Football Manager years ago. And in the first season, he lost a title because he could not win away from home. And when he sat there and he worked it out, he realised that his holding midfielder was far too attacking and his fullbacks were far too attacking away from home, and he was getting caught out. In the next season, he bought a different style of option in those three positions for rotation and in certain points. So when he played against Wolves, and at the time they had, I think, Jota at the time on the wing. I think it might have been before he signed for Liverpool. He bought a slightly more defensive fullback on, who kept Jota at bay, and then they won the game. And I think Spurs are doing a similar kind of thing. Obviously, it's not a video game, but Spurs are going to do a similar kind of thing. We are going to bring in more, I don't want to say defensive, but more safe options in certain opponents away at certain places once we've got what Ange wants to rotate. excuse me, what's the point in going, great, I can bring Højbjerg on against Newcastle away and we'll shore up the game and we'll win 2-1 if Højbjerg's not going to be there next year?
But then your argument was that we need someone like Højbjerg. So
not like, but okay, but he's still not the same player though. So
no. But then I could say, oh well, we'll have Højbjerg next year, but it'll just be a better version. So
no, because
the game
no two players are the same though. That's
I
not
know.
okay. That's
but
like
the one have Basuma is like a car crash at the back, like there, who we know we're wasting our time playing there anyway. Like Basuma hasn't been good since Luton away. Honestly,
no, we haven't. We've said that bad? Like 4 or 5 times.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, when I watch Andrew, I feel like he's not learning.
I don't think it's that. I think Ange is not willing. I don't think he's not learning. I think he knows what players he's keeping next season. I think he's already decided. I think he decided about 6 weeks ago. Because if you look, there is a certain point where he stops rotating certain players at all. Even you look at certain, like Brian Hill's got no minutes at all. I think he's definitely gone. Højbjerg's got less and less minutes.
But then you could argue that Højbjerg's got a bit more because he came on for like 45 minutes the other day against Luton.
Yeah, but I think that was more I think that was a situation where Andrews brought him on because of desperation to get the points or trying to change it. I think if we'd have just signed Højbjerg and Andrew chosen to sign him for that role, I think Højbjerg starts that game against Newcastle and I think the midfield's a lot better. I think he's choosing not to sign. And it is slightly self-destructive, but I think when you're this early in a rebuild, you have to be. If you remember, when Poch first came in and we first signed Vincent Janssen, you could tell Poch wasn't happy with him because when we desperately needed another striker option, he played Nasser Chadli through the middle. He played...
no, Janssen wasn't there that year. He signed the season after that. Janssen signed 2 years into Poch's reign. It was that window I went absolutely ballistic on Twitter on because I had Sissoko and Kudu as well, and Paul Lopez was that goalkeeper.
Yeah. No, but there were games. Maybe it wasn't Chadley. No. That was it. That was it. The year before, we'd signed Clinton and G, right? And it was clear Poch didn't want him, and Poch was playing Nasser Chadli through the middle instead of playing Clinton and G, despite him being on the bench. And we both turned around and said he clearly didn't want him. This is not an option he feels is going to fit as part of his team. So if he gives him minutes, he's showing to Daniel Levy that he's happy with him. In the end, I think Clinton and G played a handful of minutes.
But then we swapped him for Nkudu, and he didn't play.
Like I say, I'm not saying that the changes are any better, but what I'm saying is it's a pattern with managers at Tottenham. When they first come in, they will not rely on players that they've already decided, or either their players have decided they're going, or the managers decided they're going. And I think realistically, between now and the end of the season, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I think we need to bite our tongue and accept the fact the results are going to be shit. And I expect very, very quick changes at the beginning of the transfer window.
But it's going to have to be quick because of the Euros anyway, if he's going to do something.
Yeah. I think there'll be 1 or 2 surprises in there. I think...
What, like sales, you mean?
I think we might go and sign a higher quality player in a position that people don't expect. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like a midfielder or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if we go and sign a top level 6 and another top level midfielder as well.
Right, okay.
I think this year, I don't know. I think we're going to spend big this year, and that completely contradicts what I said the other week. But if I'm looking at what Angie's doing now, and I'm looking at how he's managing the squad as a group of players, as a collective, there is a clear pattern of players that he doesn't want at the club. Maybe not because they're not good enough. Maybe because they're.
So do you think that Celso's going as well then?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think, if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think it's anything personal against the Celso. I don't think Ange hates him, but I don't think he's got the physicality when he plays for what Ange needs. I think that's one of the reasons why Maddison's looked a bit weaker as well. I think you'll find next season Maddison will be a lot harder to break off the ball than this season. I think Ange will be in the gym with him. Maddison's not a weak player, but if you look at the midfield he's deploying, Pape Sarr, who bullies people off the ball. Bentancur, who's bullied people off the ball. Basuma, who can bully people off the ball, just chooses not to for whatever reason. Maddison hasn't quite got that. And I think that's why he's doubled up in midfield, where he could have gone, if he goes to Celso Maddison and then say Højbjerg, that initial front two pressing midfield is far too weak to be
they're not going to be able to fight in the midfield. Yeah,
exactly. So I think you'll find there'll be more changes to the midfield than any other position next season. If you look at our fullbacks, Pedro Porro has improved drastically defensively this season. The amount of times he shrugged players off the ball now, he was getting bullied off the ball left, right, and centre at the start of the season. So clearly that's something Ange wants to work on with players individually. I just think rather than try and work on it this season with the midfield, he's tried to protect the midfield. How about our
attacking trio?
Say?
How about our attackers, though?
You
could argue they all need replacing.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but Rome wasn't built in a day. I think we'll replace two and sort the midfield out. And I think that would probably be better than replacing all three. But it all depends. See, this is the thing that's interests me, because I think when we bring in the top tier 6 next season, I think we're setting it up to play Kulusevski more centrally. And I think when we do that, I think he has the physicality that Maddison doesn't have, the physical presence that Maddison doesn't have. But I think he has almost as much creative instinct. So I think there's going to be significant changes to the way the midfield operates.
That's just been linked with Napoli, just so you know.
We won't sell him. We won't sell him this year.
But I don't think we will, because we signed him last season. So I just don't see how.
Yeah, I don't think we'll sell him.
Because Levy want his value out of it anyway. So.
I think he's just going to be deployed differently going into next season. I think he'll be one of those players who we see a different side of next season.
I think he can only play in the middle in the system. That's just my opinion. I don't think he can play wide.
I think he can play wide, but it has to be in certain incidences, like the Forest game away when we played at the City Ground, and they sat so deep that he had the space to put balls into the box, and we had the physical presence in the box. We spoke about it for the West Ham game and how I would have played that tactically differently. Not having that physical presence in the front means you can't physically do that, which means you have to play into feet.
Which kind of gives us a problem for the Arsenal game, because we've got no Richarlison.
Exactly. And do you know what? It's a weird one, because I kind of would like to see, this is going to sound really nuts, I would kind of like to see Kulusevski deployed as a false 9. But hear me out for my logic here, right? His link-up play is brilliant, first and foremost. He's got the aerial threat. He's got the physical presence. And he's got the link-up play and the creative ability. If you have Brennan Johnson one side, and I think Heung-Min on the other, putting balls into Kulusevski, in the air, he can win the headers. If you put the balls into the feet, he can play the passes for Maddison to run beyond, Bentancur to run beyond. But being a false 9, he'll drop slightly deeper. He'll come away from the defenders to receive the ball and then play the midfields beyond him, rather than Richarlison will just back into you and hold the ball up, and he doesn't give a fuck. And he did that at Everton a lot. I'm playing the way Everton have played for the last, since Lukaku left. You have to play like that if you're a striker at Everton. You're not going to get that many goals. You're going to be back. You're going to have your back to the defender, and you're going to have to play the ball off.
Bring the team up. Yeah.
Exactly. I think Kulusevski can be deployed in a similar role, and I think the only way we beat Arsenal is if we have somebody in the middle who can hold the ball up. Honest to God, I think that's the only way we beat Arsenal.
But you know he's going to play some up front.
He is, but the thing with Arsenal, right? So it's going to be a completely different game, because even though they're coming to play at the Spurs Stadium, yes, Arteta's not tactically naive, but there is also a pressure from the fans at this stage of the season, with the position they're in, to come to Tottenham, to dominate, to play a high line, and to win. And them playing a high line can benefit Werner, Son, and Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. And this is why I think next season we need different types of forwards as well. those three are great if you're playing against a Bournemouth that want to play a higher line or whatever. But when you're playing against a West Ham who are going to sit 10 men behind the ball, that's where you don't need the pace, you need the creativity, and you need someone who can hold the ball up. And I think...
But then, I feel like you say that, but Richarlison is rumoured to be on his way out. So are we going to lose that option?
We will do, but we're looking at Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord, who is he's 6'3", built like a brick wall. He's strong physically. He's got the passing and the creative ability. I think he's the balance of the best of both. But
I haven't seen him, and you know how we just spoke about Janssen.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Do you know why I knew you were going to say that? Because I saw a tweet about it the other day.
Really? How hit and miss the Dutch league is.
Spot on. Why can't we have another Rafael van der Vaart?
Yeah, but he had more European experience than Rafa by the time he came to Spurs. I mean,
if I said to you then, so I'm going to go my starting 11.
Yeah, tell me yours first.
I'll go for yours. Yeah. So I'm going to go Vicario in goal, Destiny, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro.
I think the back four kind of picks itself to me at this point. Yeah.
Bentancur, Maddison, Sarr, Werner, Son, Brennan Johnson.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you my thinking behind it first, and then I'll let you go for yours. So, defence, like you said, speak for itself. The reason why I'm going Bentancur, we need the physicality and we need the presence, but we also need someone who can play more than a 2-yard pass to break us out. Otherwise, we're going to be suffocated by Arsenal's press. And Bentancur can do that almost to the same level as Basuma, but his passes are a lot more, and his decisions are a lot more risk-free than Basuma's are in that position. So I think that's why we need to go for him. I think Sarr, the energy and the passing ability, I think speaks for itself. And then Maddison, self-explanatory, the main reason we haven't got anybody else to go in there. But also because I think this is a game where he can really build his confidence back up again. And then the front three, like we just explained, Arsenal are going to play a high line. They're going to press us. They're going to press us high. They're going to suffocate us. And that electric pace and the clinical ability of Son, I think, will be more important in this game. Whereas you've got Newcastle who are happy to sit back, and then hit you on the break. I don't think Arsenal defenders are going to do that. They're going to press high. They're going to be tight. And I think Son knows how to deal with the pressures in the North London derby in that situation. Don't get me wrong. If Richarlison was fit, I probably would go for him. And even though I mentioned Kulusevski as a false nine, I don't think Andrew's going to do that.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
Which is why I'm...
He's not going to do that.
If he was going to experiment with that, he would have done it already. He's not going to leave it to the North London derby to do it. So that's why I'm going for my starting 11. I think it's got pace. I think it's got energy. And I think it's got maturity, if you like, which Basuma has lost his maturity as the season's gone. And that, for me, is why I can't play him in that midfield three. If Basuma starts, I think he'll get sent off. I think it'll be one of those games. If Basuma starts, he'll get sent off.
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't seem to drop Basuma.
Who you going for if you're starting 11?
So I'll probably say the same as yours. But my worry is, and I think this is how the game will be decided. Because if he insists on playing Havertz, if he plays him up front, I know it sounds weird. I'm actually more scared. If he plays him in midfield, I think we'll win the midfield battle. Like quite easily, not easily, but I think we'll do it. Like
I don't think Havertz is prepared to do the work when he plays in midfield.
But if he puts him up front, I think we're actually in danger. Like I'm actually quite scared he's going to score. Because I think I think Arteta's going to play Havertz, Jesus, and Saka. That will be his three. I think he'll play Jesus on the wing, and Saka on the right.
Okay.
And the reason I say this is because Martinez is out of form. Trossard seems to only be very good as like an impact player. And apart from the other options like real recent.
I think a lot of it depends on what happens against Bayern. I think if they go to the Allianz and get absolutely twatted, obviously you guys watching this will already know the score. If they go to the Allianz and get absolutely twatted, I think he'll be a lot more cautious.
Yeah. But I think Jesus, I've noticed in the bigger games, he tends to play him further back or wide. He doesn't tend to play him in the 9.
In the middle. But he's not clinical enough to play through the centre, in my opinion.
He isn't. That's why I think he's been using Havertz a lot as a striker, because he knows that at least Havertz can bring some sort of hold-up play, and he can score like the odd header here and there and score the odd goal here and there. And this is why, obviously, we said they need a top-class 9, really. But that's what I think he'll do, because I just have the feeling that'll be his 3. And like I said, if he plays Havertz in midfield, then like we have a chance. If he plays Havertz in the front 3, I think that will win the game.
Obviously, ignoring the fact that we don't know the result against Bayern.
Yeah.
If I said to you, what's your score prediction? What are you going with?
From now?
Yeah.
3-1 Arsenal.
I'm going.
The thing is, though, I know you say if they get twatted, but I think I'm more angry going to the North London derby.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You know what anger going into a North London derby does. We've seen it before. It gets reckless. You lose control of the game very quickly. It's happened to us and it's happened to Arsenal. And you go into a North London derby and you are not level-headed, you will lose.
What I meant happens. As in, so years and years and years ago under Redknapp when we lost the semi-final to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And the following week we went and beat Arsenal and Chelsea within the space of 5 days.
I don't think for this Arsenal team, they lose to Bayern, the pressure's going to be on them. I think it will get to their heads. I think it will get to their heads and I think they'll lose. I'm going to say 2-2.
I just think I actually think it doesn't really matter about the Bayern squad. I think it more matters of like them because they trade Chelsea in midweek as well before and Wolves before that. I think Wolves is this week.
So they got 2 games before we play them.
Three games I think before.
Jesus Christ.
That's why if they knock out Bayern, then our game gets moved to Saturday because they'll be playing the semi-final afterwards.
Oh no! Don't do that. I'm on holiday. I can't afford
12:30 on the Saturday?
I'll be in the middle of Bologna. I can't afford it. Actually, that'll probably be better because I'm going to try and get tickets to the Bologna Udinese game on the Sunday. So that'll probably be better for me. Otherwise, the North London derby is going to finish and then I'm literally going into a Serie A game straight afterwards.
In like a pissed off mood.
Yeah, they've got Wolves next Saturday at 7:30. What the fucking hell is the kickoff time for that? They've got Chelsea
on the Tuesday, right? Or something on the.
See, this is interesting. If they lose to Chelsea on the Tuesday, I reckon they'll beat Wolves. They'll lose to Wolves and then beat Chelsea. Wolves are such a hard team to play against when they.
I think they'll draw at Wolves. I think it'll be like 2-2.
I think if they drop points in either of those 2 games for North London derby, they'll go into it feeling like they've lost it, especially if City win. So
I just don't think their fans will accept them not winning the derby if they bottle the title. To be honest,
I don't think they will. But how many times have we had to accept it for ourselves? So tough shit, really. One last topic then to propose. Now, I already know your answer anyway, and I made a TikTok on this earlier. Obviously, he was on Monday Night Football yesterday. I want to talk to you about Dele Alli a little bit.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Please.
So, hearing him talk about his goals for the Euros, his head is definitely in the right place for playing football again. I don't think it has to be at a team that play attacking football that create loads of chances. We saw Dele Alli at his best when we were playing free-flowing attacking football. It was not one-touch pass, if you like, but we were dominant in possession. There were players that put the quality into the balls in the box. We're talking about a centre-forward need. And we spoke about this right at the very beginning when Ange came in. At 6'2", he has the physical presence. We know he has the technical ability, and we know he has the finishing ability.
So basically, sending us to sign English Havertz.
If I said to you right now,
that's literally what we're doing. Signing English Havertz.
If I said to you right now, Everton we agree to cancel the transfer fee with Everton, but he comes back to us and he's on a 1-year deal next season. What would you react to?
For free?
Yeah. So
we still go out on
Everton, we don't pay. Everton don't give us anything.
I know the implications of the deal. It's not like.
And then he comes back to us on a 1-year contract because he's got another year left at Everton anyway. So that year gets transferred to us. The transfer fee gets wiped. What would be your view on that?
You'd have to. Well, who are the players we signing that was on there? Are we signing on a striker or not?
Let's say we have whatever window you're expecting to have now. So we bring in a 6, we bring in attackers, whatever. He's an addition on top of. If he's an extra on top of Ange's already planned transfer window. How would you react to that?
I mean, if it's free, then
you're such a cheapskate. You are. It's not your fucking money, Harry. All right.
But like what I'm saying is, I kind of. I'm saying English Havertz. It's basically English Havertz. But because I've spoken to Arsenal fans about Havertz, and I've said, I don't agree with the way Arteta uses him, because you either play him as like a false nine, which he's been playing recently, or you use him as like a second striker.
Yeah.
Now, the problem Arsenal have is because they play a 4-3-3 like us, and when he puts him in midfield, I think Arteta, for some reason, expects him to still make the same runs while still making the recoveries, and I don't think he has it in him to do that.
No, he hasn't got the recovery to get back.
He doesn't have and the thing with Dele is, I'd argue it's the same thing right now, because we haven't seen him play for like 2 years.
Granted, but my argument is...
And does he have the... Because do you remember his comments he made? What was it, during Poch? He said, I feel like I've aged. What was it?
Yeah.
I mean...
The reason why I'm saying... Right, so hear me out for a second. The reason why I'm saying this is because he played that progressive attacking style of play, not
Poch,
to this extent, but he played it under Poch. We've got a homegrown problem for Europe next year. At the moment, it's looking less and less likely fifth place gets Champions League. Let's say we're in the Europa League.
Mm.
Do you not think having someone like that for a year on 50 grand a week, whatever, for a year in that competition, who knows the club, worst case scenario, we help pay back he doesn't take part in the squad at all, and we help back the rehabilitation we should have given him when he needed the help and needed the problems as a player when he was at the club and clearly didn't get. Best case scenario, he comes back in, he plays an attacking way, he's making those runs into the box, he's getting on the end of chances, he's finishing chances, he hits 15 goals in all competitions. All of a sudden, we're starting to see the same Dele back again. He is 28. These are, or he's turning 28, I believe. These are prime years for a player. We were sitting there at one point worried that we'd lose him to Real Madrid and we wouldn't get these years.
But then, do you think this is a question that I've wondered over a long time. Do you think his mental health deteriorated after like 2018 then? Because he had a fall of form anyway. I mean, I don't know, but I don't remember what, because I watched his interview. I
think his fall of form was an accumulation of Poch losing the dressing room, the squad not being given the extra players it needs. If you hear, he was asked by Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, what did he think we need? And he said we needed just that one final special player to push us over the edge. If Angie's going to go after those players and he can be a part... If you say to Dele, what you missed a chance in time one. All those other players are gone. They're retired. They're left. Toby's gone. Jan's gone. Kane's gone. Whatever gone. You can come back and finish what you started.
So,
I know it sounds like a fairy tale.
It's an answer line from a movie. So.
I was originally like you. I was very much against it. But... thinking about the way we play, thinking about the attacking...
Then where would you play him then? Because
I would play him initially...
The only way he works, and I the same argument I have with Havertz, is you play a 4-4-1-1. We don't play 4-4-1-1. We play 4-3-3. And Mr. Ange Postecoglou is very stubborn in saying we insist we play this way.
But if you look at how we play, though, if you look at how we play and you look at the players' positions on the field, players are so high anyway. You have your holding midfielder. I'm going to get my whiteboard out again. If you have your holding midfielder who, as they're attacking, they're still covering. You got Maddison there playing the balls into the box. Dele can be he's got the physicality, he's got the work rate, and he's got the press to be a part of a mid.
But does he have the work rate though? Because one of the things Jose threw at him was that he was lazy in training.
You know my opinion on Jose. You know how much I love him. You know how much I love him as a manager, and how defensive I
don't think,
Jose.
To be honest, to Jose in relation to Dele Alli's...
I think Jose got his man management with Dele.
I think Jose didn't know. I don't think Jose knew.
I think Jose had an inkling. I think Jose was trying the tough love tactic, and I think it backfired.
Yeah,
whereas Ange is the right...
Yeah,
whereas I think Ange is the right kind of personality to bring out the version of Dele we know as a person, and if the person comes, the footballer will come in. That ability just doesn't go away overnight. You know, look at the goals he scored against Watford, where he take it on the edge of the box and just bend it into the top corner. The late runs against Chelsea, like he's got that. He's that doesn't just go away. That instinct just doesn't just disappear. You see football players now play when they're 45, 50 in charity matches and whatever. Look at Robbie Keane in Soccer Aid or whatever. This doesn't just disappear overnight. They will have this ability until they...
Would he have the same pace as he had years ago? I don't think so.
But even if he doesn't have the same pace, we play so high with the players so close together. When we're playing these 1-2s and we're trying to flick the ball over to break through the defence, who better to have pushing through those defenders and getting on the end of it than someone who spent the first 4 years of his Premier League career doing exactly that.
The only thing when you say about a low box is, like I said, we're just going to use him like as English Havertz, like long balls, and just hope he gets the touch or heads it in. Or
But then that's where we'll bring in a traditional striker anyway. I think if we were to play, so let's say just for argument's sake here, let's say we were to get a decent level 6, right, and we were to play Maddison, Dele, and a main striker. If you've got a main striker holding up the ball, releasing it to Maddison, who's then looking to play a ball around the back, if you like, towards the back post, Dele's got a history of being able to make those kind of runs.
The only issue with that 3, and I can see it from now, is Maddison. Unless you put Bentancur in there instead of Maddison, I don't see it have any sort of success because you're asking Maddison to do 2 roles. You can't just, unless this 6 is like, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
But when we're defending,
Makaleli or something, Makaleli regen.
When we're defending though, Dele will drop back and he will, and he did it for Spurs.
Because Maddison, the one thing I worry about him, and I'm not saying he doesn't have any work rate, by the way, is he's not like he's a box to box player.
No, he's not. No, but this is where I think Dele could be.
You're asking Dele to play a role that he failed to play before, because I know Nuno tried it with him, Jose tried it with him.
But I think this is my problem, though. I think it all depends on the other players in the system, and I think we have more players better. But
this is why I've always been, after watching Dele for 2-3 years, I came to the conclusion he was a luxury player like Havertz. I still stand by what I said. He's a luxury player. Yeah. And you need to build the system around him rather than saying, oh, I've got Dele, I can put him, I don't know, just, for example, like you said, in the midfield, he'll do all the work rate. And not only that, he'll run like 20 yards at the same time for a run. Like, it's a lot to ask.
It is, but I look at him and I looked at him talk to Gary Neville and Jamie Carroll on Monday, and that fire and that determination and that passion is back. And I think we have the opportunity to enhance that to a whole nother level. I think if it's not going to cost us anything, I think it's worth taking a chance on.
Yeah. The chances of this happening are very low, but
oh yeah, of course, yeah. It's just because I was discussing it with some people on TikTok earlier, and I said that I would mention it on here. So are you overall against the idea?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't mind him coming back as like a club ambassador, but I don't think that would happen.
Fair enough.
Because I just think, you know what. I can't speak because I don't know. Obviously, we've both been through mental health. I've been through mental health, yeah. It took me like 6 months to a year to like fully recover. Now, obviously, my mental health was very different and very, you could argue, to a lower level to Dele's, right?
Yeah.
Dele had like abuse and all this other stuff on top of it. Mine was just a personal journey, I guess. I don't know how to phrase it. Yeah. And it wasn't circumstantial, but like a circumstance that I could change, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
With his one, because it's like something that's...
It's not something he could change. It's something that's already happened. It's something that
will stick with him from life. Yeah, exactly. Just to live with it, I guess, if that's the right way to put it. I don't know, but it's always going to be... But then it turns on his own, like, mental state. I don't know, because I don't know what his mental state is. I know he was on Monday Night Football, but you just don't know, because obviously we saw Dele still smiling, and then when in the end, behind the scenes, we didn't know he was still like suffering. If that makes sense, I don't know. Yeah.
But I think if there is a man to believe in him, to give him that opportunity to come back, I think Ange is the man. Like you say, it's a lot of if buts and maybes.
Well, right now, we'll find out in 6 months his loan's been cancelled.
Yeah. It's a lot of if buts and maybes, and the only absolute I know is we're absolutely fucked in the next few fixtures because it's going to be long. It's going to be long.
I think if they don't back in this transfer window, I think that's it. Spurs, like.
Yeah, but you've said that with the last 4 managers, and then been optimistic about the next manager coming. So
no, I'm not being optimistic about Ange. If anything, I'm fortunate with Ange. Just like I just think he was brought in because he plays attacking football.
Yeah, and if you're not going to give a man the opportunity to play attacking football and give him the resources to play it to a high enough level, then you're going to struggle. Because
my argument is, and this sounds really blunt, okay, David, is that most of the YouTubers and the Spurs majority fan base, the day outers, the people I sit near, they're all moaning about Conte and Jose's football. Like when we weren't winning, they're moaning, saying, "Oh, it's negative. Why are we sitting back?"
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
now
blah,
they
blah.
want the results at whatever cost and aren't prepared to go through the brutal aspects of getting to a rebuild.
But now, in the season, they're like, "Oh, I'm just grateful playing attacking football." That's what I hear from most people. And I'm like, but that means that your threshold for this new manager was so low. Yeah. Like, I judge every manager the same.
Yeah.
So, if it Conte's defense he had, there's no way he's going to play a high line with that defense. Like, come on. Let's be realistic.
Davinson Sanchez.
Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez. Long gap.
They've been moving like me at 5-a-side at least.
Is that right? Anyway.
Oh, I scored 4 and got a nutmeg. Right, quickly before we finish the Spurs. So I started playing 5-a-side for you guys that don't know, once a week on a Sunday. And last week was the first week, got the lads together, whatever. And a guy I used to work with, and he's insane. Literally can't get the ball off him. Tackling 4 or 5 times, can't get the ball off him. And I was backing into him. And he like rolls his foot along top of the ball and it takes one look at my eye and straight through my legs. And it was that humiliating. Me and like 3 other players were just...
To be fair, I take a leaf from his book. I try and not make people every week.
He was unbelievable. And he scored 2 behind me when I went in goal, and that was through my legs as well. So it was like Amsterdam on a Friday night. I just needed to keep my legs closed. But yeah, it was good fun. When I get back off holiday, I'm gonna record some GoPro stuff for the 5-a-side, so you guys will see some of that stuff on the channel.
Honestly, you should do it because one of my friends that we play with is a goalkeeper. He'd used the GoPro before, and he recorded some footage of us playing. It's so interesting watching yourself back.
See, do I
really look that slow when I'm running?
I've got a chest mount, so for me, I'll put the chest mount on and then record it from there. But yeah, so no Spurs show next week, guys. Because obviously, I'm on holiday.
How the week after is that?
We'll have to look at it before I go. Well, when we finish this, we'll sit and talk about it. And we'll work out when one next one's going to be. For those of you guys that don't know, head over to my TikTok. Link is in the bio. And there's a giveaway for you guys to win a Spurs shirt. We hit 2,500 followers on TikTok this morning as I'm recording this. So absolutely amazing. The support on there has been absolutely bonkers. So go over there. You have a chance to win a Spurs shirt. And if we hit 500 subs, by the time I announce the giveaway, the winner for that, I'll give away not 1, but 2 Spurs shirts. So there's potential that you can win on both, depending on which one you're on. But yeah, go over there, get involved. I'll leave a link directly to the specific TikTok in the description, and I'll put it in the description of all of my videos up until the giveaway is done. It's going to be decided 2 weeks before the season starts, so people can get the shirt before the season starts, so they've got it ready for new season. But yeah, that's my little way of giving back to people. So there'll be no video next week because I'm on holiday. So you'll see this on Friday. On Tuesday next week, you're going to see Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in 100 years' time. I know. I've been working on this project for ages now. It's been what, Harry? What's it been, like 3-4 weeks since I said I started it?
A month at least.
Yeah. So I've been loads of recording, loads of editing. Hopefully you guys love it. A little bit of Football Manager content, and then next week during the weekend you'll probably see the part 1 of the Bologna save, me talking about everything that's going to happen and how that's going to roll. When I get back, you'll see the vlog from my holiday, and then after my holiday I'll start the Bologna save. I'm so excited to get back playing Football Manager on the channel again, and obviously we're going to be doing this first stuff with Harry. There has also been 1 or 2 guests that have approached me, or that I've approached, and that you guys are going to be really, really excited to have on the show. So that'll be really good fun. If you do want to come on the show as well, my Twitter and Harry's Twitter are in the description. So drop us a message and we'll sort it. I know we haven't done any collaborative stuff with other people yet.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's just been because I was really busy with work and everything was just kind of flowed. It was just easier to kind of jump on every day and sort it. But that option is definitely there. So now we've got into it. We've got into the swing of things. We know how the recording works. I know how long it takes me to edit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Message us if you want to come on. Other than that, make sure you like,
David said.
make sure you subscribe. And this is
Come on, you Spurs.
And come on, you Spurs. But also, I will see you guys after my holiday. Come on, you Spurs.